Look, I hate Drake, but clearly I don't hate him as much as Kendrick Lamar does. Like, I don't think y'all understand. Pete Mr. Morale, Kendrick was not in a good place. He wasn't writing music. Him and Whitney on bad terms, and all of a sudden, he put Drake in the dirt, and him and Whitney back giggling and crip walking on Drake's grave, and now we getting this surprise album out of nowhere. And if that's what it takes to get Kendrick music, start that beef back up. But Kendrick Lamar is a fringe top 10 rapper of all time to me, and I think by the time it's all said and done, he'll be in that Nas, Biggie, Jay-Z conversation. He already has a top 5 discography in the game. Dude's an absolute wizard when it comes to creating these in-depth layered concept albums. And I think one of the things that's most impressive about him is that he has the lyrical complexity and technical rapping of an underground rapper, but he also has an amazing ear for beats. He can put together a good chorus. He has great song structure, and he's one of the very few in modern rap to rap at the level that he does while still having universal mainstream appeal. Bro is yet to miss with a project, and I don't think it's gonna start here. Let's get to it.
Siento aquí tu presencia. La noche de anoche.
Hey, you better be careful speaking all this Spanish in the intro. The way Trump been talking about the border, you say hola one too many times, they might have ice at your door.
Used to be fuck that nigga, but now it's Pearl. Fuck everybody. That's on my body.
Yo, why is this man so mad?
Then God got me. Yeah, nigga. Going up your rank. Know you a god even when they say you ain't. Yeah, nigga.
I feel like the beat should have dropped by now.
Never let no one put smut up on your name. Yeah, nigga. Keep your head down and work like
very
I do.
West Coast inspired bass line right here. The beat is really stringing you along because it's so bare bones, bare minimum. It feels like there should be a heavy drum pattern dropping at any point now. It feels like it should be a couple more instruments in the melody. It's really not a melody right now. And then lyrically, he ain't putting a name on none of these disses, so all of those elements give it this uneasy, unsettling feeling to the opener so far.
A couple rules of engagements. I'ma guide you.
See, it felt like the beat was gonna drop right there. I do like this Latin-inspired string section. I don't know why I keep falling for this. The beat is not dropping. I'm saying that basically to myself.
To bump the Carter 3, I held my rolly chain
Okay,
proud.
here we go.
Irony, I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down. Whatever though, call me crazy, everybody questionable.
Okay, here we go.
Eskimo, I drew the line in decimals. Snoop posted, tailor made. I prayed it was the edibles. I couldn't believe it. It was only right for me to let it go.
I didn't know Snoop posted tailor-made freestyle. I just assumed all of them didn't like that AI stuff. I liked it, and that's coming from a Drake hater. But I kind of feel it, man. As much as Kendrick has shouted out Snoop, and as much as they have really messed with each other, and how much reverence Kendrick has had for Snoop reposting a diss towards Kendrick do look a little weird.
Old ass flows trying to convince me that you they favorite. This is
God
not for
dang.
lyricists. I swear it's not the sentiments. Fuck a double entendre. I want y'all to feel this shit. Old soul. Bitch, I probably built them pyramids. Ducking strays when I
like
rap
this
battled
flow.
in the Nickersons. Niggas from my city couldn't entertain no boy. Promising bank transactions and even Bitcoin. I never piece it up. That shit don't sit well with me. Before I take a truce, I'll take them to hell with me.
Hey, bro, not letting no beef rest, man. It's already over, bro. Trying to get the drop on somebody who already dead.
Niggas mad cause I decided not to pretend.
I like
I'll
these
stay
keys right here
correct.
in the
I'ma do
background.
what I did, insult my intelligence. I'm not just for the television. Teleport the bullets rolling, dig up all my relatives. Okay, nigga, let's settle.
So I'm not the biggest fan of this beat, but I will say it is impressive how dynamic it is. Where as the song progresses, he's added more and more instruments to it while still maintaining this really bare bones, really minimal sound. They've had keys creep in, the drum patterns has morphed over the course of the song. It's been like 3 or 4 different drum patterns, and then they have this really sick sounding synth going on right here. It's still not the most impressive beat in the world to me, but they doing a lot with a little.
Slide on both of them. You ever Captain Crunch and proceeded to pour water in it. Pulled up by the law. You ain't dirty, so you can
Possibly
argue with them to make it to
proud.
be a star. Bear your soul and put your heart up in it. Well, I did.
I don't really know what type of opener I was expecting, but that was not it at all. Like, just think about every single Kendrick Lamar opener and how conceptually significant each one was. The opener open a Good Kid, Mad City, introduce you to Shrine, like one of the main characters in the whole story. Wesley's Theory introduced you to this whole theme of excess and introduced the character Uncle Sam to the story. Damn sets the groundwork for the whole album. The Mr. Morale open tells you what he been up to in those 5 years. And then you got this where he was just going at niggas. Like, this was the lyrical version of after a dude get in a fight or an altercation at a party and he turn around and be like, I'll fight anybody in here. I don't think this was that crazy of an opener unless this whole album is just going to be about calling niggas out. But I do think he was going so with that first verse and it did kind of set the scene for the rest of it. But I do think the rapping was basic and I think the beat was really basic at that point in time. And it kind of lasted for a while, like a minute and 30 into the song. But then he started getting to his signature flows. He gets into them vocal inflections. Production wise, they start adding in more elements to the beat, which I touched on earlier. It's not the craziest song in Kendrick's discog, but it is on brand for where he is right now. Based on the recent beef and Watch the Party Die, I am really intrigued to see how the rest of the album gonna play out. This is Squabble Up. I've been waiting on this.
Reincarnated, I was stargazing. Life goes on, I need all my babies. Woke up looking for the broccoli. High key, keep a horn on me. That could my seat. IP ownership, the blueprint is by me. Mr. Get Off, I get off at my feet.
I did not know this is where this song was going.
I walked in, walked out with the size. Man, don't let me know what the price. What the fuck? I got hits.
Bro, these Sims are going crazy. The funk influence on this track is nuts. You got this like holy matrimony of G-funk influence and regular funk, traditional funk influence merged together. Like specifically with these Sims at the very beginning of these songs, it sounded really G-funk inspired. And then they modulated into this traditional funk sound.
Friends, I got foes, but they all sitting ducks. Hit his turf and get cracking. Double back like a deluxe. 50 deep, but a
double
deep
back like
enough.
A deluxe is
fuck a peak, there you go, beat him up. Falling from a money tree, and it grew throughout the month. Spit a loogie at the camera, speed off, yeah, sus. I feel good, get the fuck out.
The spit a loogie at the camera, that gotta be a reference to Tupac when he had spit at the cameraman.
I walked in, walked out with the size. Man, don't let me know what the
Hey, I like how they're using the keys right here. They got these bright, shimmery keys, and it's playing the same melody as the sample that they use, the When I Hear Music. I don't know what sample it is. I don't know any music outside of rap, so that could be a really popular song. I don't know, but they playing the same melody right here with these keys.
Thunk, 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 baby, rocking it. Quid pro quo, what you want, cause I'm watching it. Broke on the flow, let me know if you clocking it. Brody won't go, but I know that he popping it.
That's hard. That's why I gotta pause when I'm talking, but I was about to say this flow right here is really similar to his flow on Not Like Us, which makes sense because he used this song as the intro to the Not Like Us music video. But the work on the flow, let me know if you clocking in. Like he got work, drugs on the floor, but then if you work on the floor, you gotta clock in before you work on the floor. That's tough.
Hello, child, here was Blackie Mouse with the Smirnoff. Yee-haw, we outside, or they about to kill him off. Black soul, black, this a fact, this a brick or all. Tell me why the fuck you niggas rap if it's fictional.
I have no idea what this album is. Kendrick Lamar, since Section 80, has had nothing but concept albums. I don't think this is a concept album here, but that was a banger. There is a little bit of similarity in that the content was pretty aggressive and this wasn't as direct as Whacked Out Murals, but he was sending those generic shots at other rappers, like the why you rapping if everything you rap about is fictional line. But ultimately, this was really just a West Coast banger. Like I was saying, this had that G-Funk feel, but where G-Funk is really a minimalistic style, a really simple style. As eclectic as it sounds, it's not known for having modulations, a bunch of instruments, anything like that. But here you get an R&B sample out of nowhere. The Sims morphed and modulated throughout the songs. Keys come in sporadically. That little vocal sample that comes in periodically. Oddly enough, it reminds me a lot of the production on Wesley's Theory from To Pimp a Butterfly, with how many different instruments and elements were in that song, but completely different feel. I think the rapping was dope from Kendrick. The song structure was dope. There's a lot of catchy portions on here. That intro, woke up looking for the broccoli, was good enough to be a chorus. The squabble up was good enough to be a chorus, and then he has the actual chorus, the get the fuck out my face, and then in the verses he had some really dope one-liners in there. Overall, that was a sick song. This is Luther.
If this world were mine.
Hey, Roman numeral 7, babe, drop it like it's hot.
Well, I tell you what, that check they done strode to clear that sample gonna feed Luther Vandross descendants for generations.
Hit them strictly with that fire. Fire, 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 fire. Hey, Roman numeral 7, babe, drop it like
The
it's
scissor
hot.
vocals in
If
the
this
background,
world
she
was
ain't
mine,
do
I'd
nothing but
take-
get one ad lib, dog, and I still feel it.
If this world was mine, I'd take your enemies in front of God.
Boy, this song is
Introduce 'em to
beautiful.
that light. Hit them strictly with that fire.
This world come
Oh my
leave, always
goodness.
go. Heartache, she only do what she know. Better days coming for
This
sure.
world was
If it was up to me, I wouldn't give it no.
When you
Oh,
ride it,
do it slow. Maybe you would stop. Strike doors and
The harmonization and the chemistry between Kendrick and SZA is so freaking cold. Kendrick is not the best singer by any stretch of the imagination, but it just works. SZA sound like R&B night in heaven, god dang. And then it's a really short sample by Luther Vandross. They probably have enough money to clear like more than a line or two, even with Kendrick money. But the way they're incorporating and pretty much harmonizing it with SZA and Kendrick, that is tough.
I trust you, I love you, I won't waste your time, I turn it off just so I can turn you on. I'ma make you say it loud. I'm not even tripping, I won't stress you out. I might even settle down.
Boy, they can sell that song at Sotheby's. God dang, that's art. Man, I'm not the biggest fan of the production on Whacked Out Murals, but first 3 tracks, this is really ambitious productions. And this song in particular is everything coming together to perfection. There was a lot of elements in this song that should not have worked together at all. It's an R&B track, but you have these 808 drums, a thumping bass line, and neither one of those things sound like something that would be in an R&B track, but then you have those keys that tie everything back together. And then you have multiple instruments that crept in that gave the song texture, that gave the beat texture, like some pretty gorgeous string passages. Vocals from Kendrick and SZA, with SZA doing a lot of heavy lifting, almost seem like an instrument in and of themselves. Love the performance from both of them. I love the chemistry they had with a little back and forth. That song right there is sick. This is Man of the Garden. Joint sound like an Animal Crossing type beat. Oh, this is a super moody beat. These little sound effects they got basically baked into the drum pounder and are interesting by themselves. These chords that the keys are playing sound more in line with the typical R&B song, but the match of the out-of-the-box drums with the more typical melody make a good contrast.
Twice emotional stability, a sound body and tranquility. I deserve it all. Like minds and less enemies. Stock investments, more entities. I deserve it all. VVS's white diamonds, GNX with the seat back reclining. Bitch, I deserve it all.
Hey, that was like when they say the name of a movie in the movie.
The respect and the accolades, lamping on the island.
I like
watching
this
Castaway.
motif right here, the I deserve it all motif.
For every good nigga that passed away, sent 2.5 million on the average day. I deserve it all. I deserve it all.
God dang, these vocals fell out to be great.
I deserve it.
It's interesting to see where this song gonna go, because that was a really unique way to pretty much just brag. All those were typical things that you would brag about in a song, but the I deserve it all motif give it a little bit of depth.
Cause my intentions was pure. Even when you wasn't sure, even with every allure. How much temptation you endured. You probably look for every cure. I said I deserve it all.
He talking about all the stuff he deserved on that first track, and now he's saying why he deserved it.
Bitch, I deserve it all. It's innate to mind my business, writing words, trying to elevate these children. That's why I deserve it all. Pray for those who prayed against me. Every reason why my ancestors sent me. Bitch, I deserve it all.
I like that. That's a stark contrast from like 99% of his previous work. If you look at pretty much any album that he's had, particularly Damn and To Pimp a Butterfly, there's this overarching thing that he has this higher calling, that he's basically like a prophet, but he's pretty open about feeling like a hypocrite and rapping about his shortcomings. But here he's taking the opposite approach and telling you all these reasons why he is this prophet in a sense.
Put a smile on my mama. good health and good karma. Yeah, she deserves it all.
You know, she also lent him his van and got his dad to stop tripping about that Domino's. That's kind of something.
For my daughter, made my son take it further than his father. Yeah, he deserves it all.
Oh, I like how you talking about all his relationships
every
now.
time I close my eyes, he say you deserve it. I did it with integrity and niggas still try hate on me. Just wait and see.
Delivery.
More blood be spilling, it's just paint to me. Dangerously, nothing changed with me. Still got pain in me.
It's just paint to me line is tough.
How annoying does it angers me to know the lames can speak on the origins of the game I breathe. That's the same to me. It's important. I deserve it all because it's mine. Tell me why you think you deserve the greatest of all time, motherfucker.
I'm feeling that song a lot. It's not nearly the banger that Squabble Up or Luther is, but it's more in line with what I expect from Kendrick Lamar with the content and the lyrical depth. Thematically, this song reminds me a lot of Fear Off of Damn, where he had a common motif where he ended most of his lines with the I deserve it all. And then as he closed out his third verse, his delivery gets more passionate, more urgent, more aggressive. But where it diverges from Fear, where that song was mostly about him fearing himself not being adequate, it was basically throwing all the ways he is in your face. I love how the song is broken up with the first verse being about what he deserves, the second verse being about why he deserves it, and then the third he goes from looking inward to expanding that outward. He touches on his relationship with his mama, with God, with his kids. Then he turns his attention to other people in the rap game who he doesn't like, to fans. Then on top of that, I like this beat. It's pretty simple, especially compared to the last two tracks, but I think it definitely did a great job of setting the mood. Dope song. This is Hey Now. Bro, what is these sound effects he been using these last? God dang. Bassline tough, but what is these sound effects? This joint sound like National Geographic background music if Snoop Dogg was narrating it.
Hey now, say now, mother by my yin. Big face Buddha, get my peace from within.
I like that line.
All my dirties in a pin. Let the honorary walk for the win, for the win. From 1,000 to 1,004. The black Noah, I just strangled me a goat. I walked in with a therapeutic flow. Put a few hundred up, let him go, let him go.
All braggadocio on that first verse. He had that West Coast, like, Sacktown flow. I hope that's a Sacktown flow. If it's not, I apologize, but y'all know what flow I'm talking about.
Oh my God, I'm about to do the fool. They be screaming out P, but they resume is boof. Switch both lanes, the engine sound like the zoo. Need a fee just to breathe, bitch. I can talk to you. Mr. Ben Frank murderer, Mr. I ain't heard of ya. Gar strings back to back, flying through the turbulence. Who is he? Free lunch, craft services. Throw your ass out this rental if I smell nervousness. Hey now, say
I don't know
now,
how I feel about these Sims.
Starting to see spaceships on Rosecrans. I seen the aliens hold hands.
Fuck, I feel like Joker. Harley Quinn up in the cut with a blower.
Ice shit get spooky 8th day in October. My torpedo even jumped out on smokers.
She mean mugging niggas dirty too
Nah, the
important.
back
If they
and
talk
forth
about
is
playing ball,
hard.
me and my team gon' get the scoring.
If they talking about playing ball, they could take it up with Jordan. It's bald heads in the heckler for all endorsements.
I heard bald head bullets, flips before, but the fact he had the Jordan line before and he tied that into the line, I like that.
Tryna tag a nigga toe. I'm aggressive on the beat and real life, niggas know. Hey, I tied it up, my body hit a pin, level 4. Hey, I sharpened up a knife and came home to a blow. My bitch can get to tweaking like she playing with her nose. Lil' Brody about to crash, my young niggas be on go.
That song ain't crazy to me. It ain't bad. Kendrick is clearly a mainstream artist, but so far, this is his most accessible album as far as having a mainstream sound. He's putting a West Coast song really, really heavy on this album so far. This was a really West Coast inspired beat with that bass line and then his flow. I'm assuming Dottie 6 is from Cali too. But that said, you don't really get much as far as lyricism, as far as lyrical content, as far as depth to the song. You do get dope flows. I like the delivery. He has some nice brags sprinkled in here and there, but nothing really off the wall. I think the beat was pretty interesting with the nature sound and sound effect there, and I like the bass line. The best part of the song, in my opinion, by far was when Dottie 6 and Kendrick were going back and forth, and then Kendrick just let Dottie go at the end for like 8 bars, and about like his solo part a little bit more than Kendrick's solo part. He also had an interesting modulation like halfway through the song, so overall it was cool. It wasn't crazy. This is Reincarnated. This a Tupac sample here. I can't remember the name of the song, but I think it might be one of them posthumous. He got 1,000 posthumous albums, but it might have been on one of them posthumous albums. But I do know this is a Tupac sample.
I got this fire burning in me from within. Concentrated thoughts on who I used to be. I'm shedding skin. Every day a new version of me, a third of me demented, cemented in pain. juggling the pros and cons of fame.
It's starting to make sense, but this album's really feeling like a mixtape more on the untitled, unmastered cloth than any of his other albums.
I did past life progression last year and it fucked me up. Reincarnated on this earth for 100 plus. Body after body,
That's
lesson after
crazy.
lesson. Let's take it back to Michigan in 1947.
I don't know who he's talking about, but he's rapping from a different perspective, and it's looking like the concept of this song is similar to the Heart Part 5, where he's saying he's these other people. I'm assuming this is some Detroit artist that he's talking about, but I can't put my thumb on who yet.
Kick me out the house cause I wouldn't listen to him. I didn't care about his influence, only love what I was doing. Gifted as a musician, I play guitar on a grand level. The most talented where I'm from.
Hey, I don't know no genres outside of rap, so he talking about playing guitar. You on your own about who he referencing.
Another life, it placed me as a black woman in the chitlin circuit. Seductive vocalist, as the promoter hit the curtains. My voice was angelic, straight from heaven. The crowd sobbed. A musical genius, what the articles emphasize.
I don't know who he is referencing on that first verse, and I'm probably not gonna know who he's referencing on the second verse because this is just way outside of my area of knowledge. But it seemed like the concept of this song mirrors the concept he was talking about when he was talking to Tupac, ironically, because this is a Tupac sample, but at the end of Mortal Man, where he was saying essentially that music is our ancestors, our predecessors talking through us, where these first two people he mentioned, whoever they are musicians who far predated rap, talking about a blues artist and I think they said a soul artist.
Turned on my family, I went wherever cameras be. Cocaine, no private planes for
so
my insanity.
graphic, dog.
Self-indulged, discipline never been my sentiments. I needed drugs. To me, an 8-ball was like penicillin. Fuck love. My happiness was in that brown sugar. Sex and melodies gave me hope when nobody's looking. My daddy looked the other way, he saw sin in me. I died with syringes pinched in me. Reincarnated.
Both of the people, they died from living a life of excess.
My present life is Kendrick Lamar, a rapper looking at the lyrics to keep you in awe. The only factor I respected was raising the bar. My instincts sent material straight to the charts. My father kicked me out the house, I finally forgive him.
Hey, I like this little modulation in the beat right here.
I didn't gloat, even told him no when the vultures came. Took control of my fleshly body when the money changed. Son, you do well, but your heart is closed. I can tell residue that linger from your past creates itself. Father, I'm not perfect, I got urges, but I hold them down. But your pride has to die. Okay, Father, show me how.
Yo, I thought he was talking about his dad, like his actual dad. He's not talking about his dad right here. He's talking about God, his heavenly father.
You fell out of heaven cause you was anxious. Didn't like authority, only searched to be heinous. Isaiah 14 was the only thing that was prevalent. And now, you crushed a lot of people keeping their thoughts in captivity. And I'm ashamed that I ever created that enemy. And let's rejoice where we at. I rewrote the devil's story just to take our power back. Carnated.
Whoa. Whoa. That is nuts. I know he got bangers on this album, but this right here is more of my speed. There's just not a lot of rappers who can do this, period, and especially not in the mainstream in 2024. But it seemed like the concept that he was going to get into in this song was pretty obvious just because the name of the song being Reincarnated. Then for the first two verses, he was these two separate artists who died, one from a drug overdose. I can't remember the first one, but from some form of gluttony or excess. And the insinuation was that Kendrick Lamar was a reincarnation of those two artists. But then he gets in the third verse and he says he's rapping from his perspective, and then he starts rapping to his father, which I thought was his dad, but in actuality he was talking to God. But then those last few verses made it clear that he was actually rapping from the perspective of the devil, as the devil was getting kicked out of heaven. So if you apply that to the whole verse, is Kendrick saying he was the devil reincarnated, but then he promises to do all these good things. So he's the devil reincarnated, but he's also trying to right the wrongs of the devil. And then to add two more layers to this song, one is over this Tupac beat, which if you listen to this video, you know how much of an impact Tupac has had over Kendrick. So in the back of your head, you're thinking, all right, is Kendrick saying he's a reincarnation of Tupac? But I think even more layered to that is the devil was I don't know if this is actually in the Bible, but the common thought is that the devil was over music and that he uses music as a weapon. So you have this other overarching theme of that music is evil, but then with Kendrick saying that he was like gonna right the wrongs of the devil, he's taking music, something that's evil, something that the devil uses, and promises God to put it to good use. That song was crazy to me. I like the beat, not necessarily because it's the greatest beat in the world, but I just like the layer of complexity by having him rap over a Tupac beat. Song was sick. This is TV Off.
All I ever
I
wanted
like
was
them
a black
horns.
grand national. Fuck being rational, give them what they asked for. It's not enough. Few solid niggas left, but it's not enough.
The way that sample is chopped up right there, where he's using a really, really small portion of a sample and he's using it as a stab.
I made them niggas mad. Yeah, somebody gotta do it. I take a G-pad. Yeah, watch a nigga do it. We survived outside, all from the music, nigga. What? How many shit I seen them all. Take a risk or take a trip.
The delivery is so fire.
Who you with? Couple sergeants and lieutenants for the get back. This revolution been televised. I fell through with the knickknacks. A young nigga feel like he entitled cause he knew me since a kid. Bitch, I cut my granny off and she don't see it how I see it. Got a big...
Hey, talk that remember me from school? Heck nah ish. More horns. A little beat change. For what?
Nigga second bad, but somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas.
Hey. For what? Hey, I don't want to hear no more drops from Mustard, bro. I don't want to hear no Mustard on that beat. I don't want to hear that ever again, dog. It's got to be the drop from now on, bro. What was he even thinking? Oh my goodness. I'm playing that again.
Nigga second bad, but somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas, but somebody gotta do it. Turn this TV off.
That's hilarious, dog. Oh my god. Let me actually react to the song. One more time.
Hey. Nigga second bad, but somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas, but somebody gotta do it. Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off.
Yo, this beat is hard.
I'm in the city with a flag be getting thrown like it was pass interference, padlock around the building, crash.
A flag being thrown like a game flag, like it's pass interference or a penalty flag.
Pulling up in a marked truck just to play freeze tag with a boner pick like it was sea bass. So when I made it out, I made about 50K.
With a boner pit like it's sea bass, that's hard.
Only good for saving face, seen the cosmetics. How many heads I gotta take to level my aesthetics? Hurry up and get your muscle up, we up the plyometric. Nigga ran up by the Lux, Unessa up the highest metric. The city just made it sweet, you could diabetic. They mouth get full of deceit.
Sweet, diabetic, like diabetic, D-I-E within the word, that's tough.
Well, crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. Crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. Crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious.
Hey, that song ain't got no business being that hard, man. So this is what I think a couple of the other songs that are like club bangers, songs that's gonna get played on radio, even though nobody listens to radio, y'all know what I mean. But this is what a song like Squabble Up or Hey Now is missing, where the song is super catchy. I love the song structure. I love the beats. I love the beat change. But Kendrick also had the lyrics, especially on that second beat. I guess that nigga powered up when he said mustard. Bro, and Super Saiyan. He's saying that because his hair turned mustard color. But he had the flows. He had the deliveries, but he had the one-liners like the throwing the flag like it's pass interference, the with a boner pit like it's sea bass. He had a cosmetic line in there that was tough. Then that second beat, those horns sounded crazy to go along with the bass line. I like what they did with these samples. This is something that JPEG Mafia did a lot on, I guess it was 2 albums ago on Scaring the Host, where he takes a sample and basically repurposes it, where he took a sample and chopped it up to where it just sounded like one note, and basically he had the sample repurposed to do what keys would normally do, where the sample was playing 3 different chords. Hopefully that made sense. If not, just know it was fire. But that's one of the toughest songs on here, if it ain't the best song. Bro also just blessed Mustard with the greatest producer tag of all time. Lefty Gunplay ain't do a lick of work on the group project. It was 0 reason for him to be on the track, but hey, you got a feature credit on a banger. This is Dodger Blue. I like this sample. I don't know what the sample is, but it reminds me of that song Computer Love by, I can't even remember the artist, but somebody watching this who is Unk Status know what I'm talking about.
Little nigga, but that dog gave me that on pup. On my kids, I sock you niggas up. How you ever took a fade and ran 3 more back to back? Oh, you haven't? Then shut the fuck up and keep it rap. Bitch, I'm from the land. Don't say you hate LA when you don't don't travel past the 10. Am I tripping? Yes, I am.
Hey, somebody put that in Atlanta terms for me. Is he saying don't say you in Atlanta if you out there past the Braves Stadium?
All streets don't love you, better respect the code. Ain't no sleeping in on Sunday. If it's about the money, then my niggas on go.
When I walk in, yo, yeah, bring that.
That's cool. That was cool.
High pop shit.
When I walk in, hoes better get in check.
Okay, I like these vocals.
Bitch, nothing less. Ooh, don't take it personal. You won't be the first to know. Just might be the first to go. Just might be.
Hey, you might be the first to go sound like a threat, but that song is cool. I like the beat a lot. I'm not sure exactly where that sample is from, but the whole retro LA vibe that it give off is really dope to me. I like a lot of the background vocals in this song. The outros probably sonically sound the best, but I like how he was playing with the little back and forth when he did the little walk part right before the outro. But this is kind of the opposite of what I was saying on TV Off, where he gave you the catchiness, but he also had the lyrics and actually displayed his rap ability on TV Off, but he didn't really do that on this song here. So it's cool. But that said, I'm really starting to enjoy and appreciate this album more, seeing that there's no greater concept to it. It's kind of just a collection of songs with really the only thing that's linking and weaving the whole album together is the fact that it's really heavily West Coast influenced with the production. Let's get into Peekaboo.
What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they
It's
talking
gonna be
about?
hard to sing along to.
Huh? They ain't talking about nothing. Huh? They ain't talking about
Tongue
nothing.
Twister just dropped.
Peekaboo, I just put them bookers in my chain. Peekaboo, 80 pointers like a Kobe game. Peekaboo, 762s, a nigga playing. Peekaboo, popping out, you better not smell my name. Peekaboo, surprise, bitch, it's that nigga chicken cheese. Peekaboo, let me FaceTime my op, bitch, I'm up the street. Peekaboo, yes, AGs, I'm putting something to sleep. Peekaboo, he on the ground, I praise God and start stumping feet. Hey, 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 that's my bitch. Hey, 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 that's my bitch. Hey, 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 with all that fake.
Hey, Fat Albert, listening to this feeling like how Soulja Boy felt. He stole my whole flow, word for word, bar for bar.
Hey, 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 hey. Pull off in a lamb, double pocket all that tams. Mister, get off on your mans. If he hate you disrespect, you better follow up with hands.
He floated right
to the
here.
neck, but now I'm trophied up. I'm saying like, bing, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam. The type of shit I'm on, you wouldn't understand. The type of skits I'm on, you wouldn't understand.
Hey, incorporating that beam, bop, boom, bam into your rhyme scheme is crazy work.
Never got his ass whooped until we open up that can. Damn, alley hoop me bands, I'm a slam. Jam freak bitch, I like my Mac touching yams. Pay that option around me.
I like my Mac touching yams.
What happened to your man?
That's
Not
tough.
sorry for your loss. Should've prayed before them shooters came and nailed him to the cross. I let your boy get a pass, bitch, you lucky you saw.
Every time Kendrick drops an album, I've come to expect a really crazy concept album. Even Untitled Unmastered, it didn't have a concept per se, but a lot of the songs had this apocalyptic vibe to it. This is his first album since Overly Dedicated that there wasn't any consistent themes or concepts, and I don't know, the more we get into the album, the more I'm rocking with it. This one right here was another banger. Now, it didn't have the same level of lyricism, and it didn't have the memorable lines that TV Off had, but I think flow is a big part of lyricism that I probably even undervalue on this channel. And the fact that he can get into a bunch of different catchy flows, and he's even incorporating his features and playing off of their flows, and they're going back and forth, I think all of it is dope, and it just shows you how great of a songwriter Kendrick is. And I think it even speaks to some of his previous albums that were more conceptual, all of them, where they say Mr. Morale doesn't have any super huge bangers, but this shows that he was capable of doing that, but that just wasn't the time and place for it. I think it's over another tough beat as well. Let's get into the Heart Part 6. Dang, this got a very different feel from any of the other Hearts.
Niggas watching War Star videos, not the SBs laughing at beat bump or stomach turning. I get up and proceeded to write some. Absol in the corner, mumbling raps, fumbling packs of Blackie Mouse, crumbling Kush till he cracked a smile. His words legendary, wishing I could rhyme like him. Study this style to define my pen. That was back when the home.
Basically, he put you back in that time frame when he wrote the very first Heart, which was that on the Kendrick Lamar EP? I believe. I would assume so, because part 2 was on Overly Dedicated. But anyways, I like that descriptiveness and vividness of a young Kendrick Lamar rapping or writing his raps in the booth with Absol.
That was back when the only goal was to get J-Rock through the door. Warner
Yeah,
Brother
that's
Records,
crazy.
hope Naeem my lead would let us know.
I resonate with that because I remember when Kendrick first came out, this would have been around Overly Dedicated time. It's crazy to think about, but I was literally telling people like, hey, you got to check out this artist named Kendrick. You heard of J-Rock, he rocked with J-Rock. Whereas now Kendrick is leaps and bounds more popular than J-Rock. You know, part of that is because J-Rock, like a lot of these TDE artists, don't put out no music, but that's neither here nor there. That's dope.
Was it my record deal? But still, I couldn't believe it.
I like
Me and Rock inside
that.
the booth hibernating. It was simple math. If he made it, that mean I made it. Everything I had was for the
Hey, I love these vocals right here. I think this is a sample though.
Dave had a champagne Acura, a bunch of instrumentals I freestyled in the passenger. That nigga wore several hats, a producer, manager, director, and DJ. A hi-hat
And your kid's baby daddy.
blood.
I'm just playing.
Nigga for shit show. He brought Q over, but Q didn't rap, but he learned from our inspo. We
that's
split Louisiana
crazy.
chicken riverboat special, sleeping next to
Hey, you know Q was in them streets, bro. Ain't even think about rapping. Bro just out here being a crip. They brought that man in there like Easy.
burying my ops and allies. But I done a half job communicating feelings of being stagnant. Life was getting bigger than just rapping. The business, what I was lacking. Top used to record me back when it was poor me. And now we at the round table. Pick up the phone and bust it up before
This
the
is
history
fire.
is lost. Hand to hand shake is good when you have a heart to heart.
Infinitely better track than the other song with the same title. This was dope, man. This almost felt like a wrap up to the Heart series, which hopefully it's not. But I like what he did here lyrically, where he put you back in his shoes when he was trying to get on, describing his relationship with the rest of Black Hippie, TDE, Top, Dave, even Soundwave. And then I like how he brought everything together in that last verse where basically he took ownership on Black Hippie not ever working out. I like the vulnerability when he was talking about his career feeling stagnant when he got distant after one of his homies passed. And then add to the fact that this song sounded really dope sonically, where the beat was essentially just a 90s R&B beat with some hip-hop drums over them. And then I like the vocals in the chorus and then the outro refrain. This is me nitpicking, but one of my favorite things about most of the Heart songs is he'll have a session where he just erupts and get really passionate and his delivery starts sounding super, super urgent and hungry. He didn't have that here, but you know, that's just a preference thing. Really dope song overall though. This is the title track, GNX. God dang. You know Soundwave had something to do with this track. Soundwave was one of the most prominent producers I've ever heard who really took advantage of using reverse source samples. This, I don't even know what the instrument is. I'm assuming it's a drum, but there's one part of the beat where the sound source is in reverse and it's making the beat sound trippy. The other thing too is, now that I think about it, this piano chord sounds like the chords backward. Not like they're reversing it, but if the chord progression is ABC, it sounds like they're playing a regular sample CBA.
Did it like Hi, have you ever been a joint and you know it? Have you ever had to flip your unemployment?
I'm pretty sure this beat will work if you played it in reverse. I ain't got the technology to do it, but I feel like that's the case.
On the dead ones, we'll treat an enemy like some breadcrumbs. All of my killers on go like who shed some red rum. All I think about when I see heads come, gon' televise it. We the one who land child's blow.
It's another reverse sound source right here.
Show.
It's in the
Murder man,
background.
singing murder music off a murder van. Beat the pushy up like I've been celebrating, now murder saying who did it?
Hey, who showed you how to run a blitz?
Tell 'em peso did
Who
it.
put the West back in front of shit?
Tell 'em peso did
Hey,
it.
I'm tripping and I'm loving it.
Tell 'em
I
peso
don't think
did it.
Peso did that.
How about suicide doors? It's the hit 'em, man. You don't wanna see them doors sliding on the
It
kiss.
sound like Absol. This Soul Brother number 3.
I know killers who was catching bodies in our one phase.
I was 13.
It sound like a mix of Absol and J-Rock.
25, feeling like the box, it was full of sand. At the cemetery, fucked up, that's where I could've been. 142nd, I'm connected like I'm Rosecrans. Kind of shit I seen, try forgetting, I will pop.
I'm assuming Rosecrans connect the street he just mentioned. That's a tough line if so.
It's getting down to the wire. Get on my mob to build a shit. Get down with the plier. Been coming back to back hits. Hottest nigga ain't tired. I'm with some rock star bitches. They
Dude
won't
rapping
let
like he
me acquire.
tweaking.
I'm switching gears, I pop the clutch. I send
And why
a
you
nigga
sound like
up,
he's
a
staking
risk
somebody
taker,
out?
I call you niggas bluff. If they hanging out for real, we come to duck. Tucking tails, they out of luck. When it's wartime, they hiding in the cut.
Boy, Young Threat spin them type of bars that got locked up, dog. Hey, I don't know what it is, man, but I believe him. This song was cool. It wasn't my favorite at all. I do like the fact that he's putting on these underground rappers who I'm assuming are from LA. And this had like a posse cut vibe. I like the little refrain where he would say whoever the artist was in that verse instead of himself. Him as in Kendrick would do that. And then I think overall, all three guys came with it. Young Threat was the most unique, but I would say Peso had my favorite verse out of all those guest features. I thought this was just Soundwave, but it's a whole bunch of producers on this track. But I like what they did with all that reverse sound sourcing. I think that's just a really unique sound. Let's go ahead and close this thing out with Gloria.
Me and my bitch got a complicated relationship. She's so controlling, I notice it ain't no playing with her. I met her when I was off the porch as a teenager. She said one day I would write my wrongs in seed paper. We started off young, look up with you, didn't know what it was with you.
It's that Bonnie and Clyde-ish.
Just to get a buzz with you. Some niggas want you want reality, not tragedy for sure. I get you. To tell the truth, I've been getting used to what open-minded people do. In 2014, I went to Africa, baby. You was my passenger. My eyes and ears for all it is. The neighborhood that baffled us.
Okay, he's definitely not talking about a girl right here. He's using this like love song, the girl he's talking about, as a metaphor. I can't quite tell exactly what the metaphor is, but it's either Compton itself, or it could be like rap music or his musical career.
I gave you life. I breathe the motherfucking charisma in this bitch. I bring the blessings. I gave you power. Nigga, I bring the rainfall.
It might be his career.
Then fall right back in love the very moment that I touch you.
Yeah, I don't think it's Compton. It's something career related.
So jealous, hate it when I hit the club to get some bitches. Wrote them off, rather see me hit the church and get religious. Who you fooling? I know what you doing. You my contradiction. Remember when you caught that body and still wiggle through their sins?
He talking about his writing.
They can't erase our history. They margins ain't big enough. They all led by bigotry. My woman in my right hand, my saint and my sin. Ain't no bitch like my bitch, cause that bitch been my pen.
Oh, close enough. Okay, yeah. I did all that effort trying to figure out what he was talking about. I didn't know he was just gonna give it away.
I see you see me, both see what we want.
He gave us one more concept song to leave us with. He gave it away at the end, but that entire song was an extended metaphor for him and his pen, which going back, that'll definitely give a lot of those lines more layers to them. And I'm sure there's a bunch of bars in there to dissect within that frame of he's rapping about his pen. But I think it was a fitting end to this album. Overall, I think this is a dope album. Now, I think how much anybody's going to enjoy this album is really going to depend on what are your expectations going into this album and how much are you comparing it to his other albums. This album certainly feels like a mixtape compared to every single other album in his catalog, Section 80 and later. Matter of fact, the closest piece of work that Kendrick had that this album feels, in my opinion, is he had a leaked mixtape called Mad Kid Chill City or something like that. It never dropped officially, and you might be able to go find it on the internet if you try hard enough. But that was a project that was clearly in that Good Kid, Mad City time frame, and it was a bunch of loosies from that album. Some songs had a lot of lyrical depth, some songs had a lot of lyricism, but in the end, it was just a collection of tracks that didn't have too much tying them together. And it's the same thing here. You do get these displays within the album where Kendrick shows all of conceptual brilliance, like Reincarnated. I think the concept on Gloria is dope. I like the storytelling on The Heart Part 6, but ultimately it was just a collection of songs. Now, the great part about it is most of the songs are really, really dope. I don't think there was any bad song on this album per se. I don't think all the songs were on the same level. I think TV Off and Luther were two of the biggest standouts on the album, and it was really dope seeing Kendrick lean into his West Coast influence and his ability to write hits. Despite this album not having the depth of any other album that he has, I think you still see the attention that Kendrick has towards his crafts when you get well-written song after well-written song. The beat selection was dope. I think most of the beats are really, really tough, and even the beats that weren't as crazy as the others were still dope, and I feel like he brought out the best in his features as well. Most of the these outside of SZA, all of these were artists who I haven't even heard of. So overall, super enjoyable album. I would not be surprised if Kendrick has another album really soon. This almost felt, especially the fact that he had a Heart Part 6, where in these last several Hearts, since I believe the Heart Part 3, they've all created an album. Knowing Kendrick, I might have to leave Thanksgiving dinner to go peep his next album. But as it stands, it's just a standalone project. I think it's really dope. Not at all what I was expecting, but I'm okay with that. If you're trying to see me react to more Kendrick Lamar, check out my breakdown of Mr. Morale right here, or check out this video right here.